Hey, it's Joe coming at you with another template. This time we're looking at making quarterly estimates for taxes a lot easier. So we've got the template here. I can walk you through the tabs, but mostly this would be really helpful for those tax accountants who are looking to just put together estimates, put together really fluidly, and be able to kind of get on their way with all their clients that they have to handle. So got a little cover here, not too much to note. But the first tab I want to talk about is this input tab. And this is where we're identifying the tax year, but then also the quarters that we're running our reports for. So these pieces of information here, and particularly the blue cells are the ones that are hard coded that we'd be entering, are flowing into our reporting or data tabs here on the right. So you'll notice, right, the tax estimate quarters aren't necessarily all 3 in 1 or 4 3-month quarters. And so you can see here I've got quarter 1 starts on the 1st of January and goes to the 31st of March. But then Q2, right, those estimates are due typically on June 15th. So I've got my date set up here for 5/30 run through when my books would be closed when I'm doing that in June. I'm also hitting with my my Fed, state, and local tax rates here that flow through to a schedule. So like I said, these dates are going to flow through into my tabs on the right, my data tabs. So you can see I'm pulling in using Amalgam, a prior year P&L, a prior year balance sheet, and then I have quarterly reports for each of my or quarterly P&Ls for each of my quarters here. And you can see that these link right to my input tab. So my input tab up here, D12 is where that's going to be looking. So if I do my control left bracket for our shortcuts, you can see it's pulling right there. And so those are all linked in fluidly for us. And so that's how the data is going to flow through into our schedule. So to look at our actual tax schedule, that's this Biz Tax tab here. And so I have pulled in the prior year's P&L for reference. I've got our first, second, third, fourth quarter, and then I've got a total for this calendar year. I'm pulling in revenue, COGS, operating income, interest income, and then I have our net income here. And then I also have a section for adjustments. So for us, right, like meals are only 50%, entertainment, 100% of that isn't getting taxed. And any other adjustments, we've got a placeholder here, our total adjustments, and then sort of our adjusted taxable income. And then down below, I've got our actual taxes. These green cells always reference that I'm looking up in a different tab. So the 21%, the 5%, the 0% that we actually pulled up from our input tab. So there you go. There's our tax rate there. And then it goes through and it actually calculates, okay, so we've got some math here. We're looking at what our taxable income is, and we're looking at the taxes per each one. And then I have a placeholder for what we actually paid and then what the difference is. So here we're saying we owed $325 in the first quarter. We paid $250, and so there's a difference there. And then that just aggregates up over each quarter. So I'm doing this in April of 2025, so I really only have data through Q2. I've also got some references here. And that's really how the schedule works. And then so if I want to go ahead and like update this, let's say I'm into my third quarter, I'm gonna run it and the data won't be updated. But if I'm in my third quarter, I can just hit run all reports and it will update each one of my P&Ls. And so you can see the numbers sort of cycling through here, they're updating, and they all flow through. So you actually do see I changed something the other day, and that revenue went from like 1.4 million down to 48K, and see how that flows through. So we had like a $300,000 amount or something like that here in tax owed, and now it's a credit of 8,000. So that's generally how the schedule works. You could saw I just updated 4 quarters worth of information in the prior year, things to that nature, all really quickly with just one click. The last thing I'll show you here is that for instances where it's a partnership or S Corp or something like that, I did put a basis and K1 schedule in here. Obviously, each of you probably like to prefer very specific things, but at least there's a template here for kind of starting points of calculating your basis and then also calculating your K1 information as that would be needed. So that's pretty much the deal. This is the tax estimate template. Using Amalgam, you can see just one click, you can update all of your schedule and get your updated numbers for your quarterly estimates, and then you can make those deposits to the IRS and your state authorities.